I also watched a mockumentary called Found Footage, The Making of the Patterson Project. Very long title. Um, Max Tzannes, I'm going to say the name. It's Tzannes. Max Tzannes is the director. Um, and the basic idea of this movie is it's like you've got this group of filmmakers that want to make this really low budget horror movie about Bigfoot. And Patterson Project, remember that Patterson film is the really famous Bigfoot film of the Bigfoot kind of walking in the riverbed, like a dry riverbed in Oregon, if I remember correctly. And in fact, this was there was a kind of a documentary style horror movie actually made by Bobcat Goldthwait that we talked about way back when on, I think, Find Your Film, called Willow Creek, which is actually surprisingly pretty good and taken pretty straight. It's not really a comedy. This is much more of a comedy. It's kind of somewhere like, I guess if you remember like American Movie, if you've seen American Movie, which is documentary on the filmmaking of this low budget horror film, and it's kind of really not about the horror film as much as it is about the oddball characters in real life that made American Movie. They were making a movie called Coven, Coven, Coven. They always called it Coven. Um, this movie definitely wants to do some of that, but it's a fictional movie about the making of that documentary film, or not. It's a fictional documentary, so it's a mockumentary about the making of this horror movie about Bigfoot. So you're really just watching all these like, it's almost like a guest, movie, like a what is it? Waiting for Guffman or those kind of things too, where like you're just trying to follow all these funny characters, but they're all fictional characters, but supposedly they're real characters. I'm being confusing, but you get the idea. Um, I guess another movie I would kind of compare it to is One Cut of the Dead, where it starts out being about the making of the movie, and then it becomes this meta movie about the making of the movie, and then what's going on behind the scenes, that kind of a thing. This movie also is doing that. So the basic idea is you got all these characters, um, and the director is trying to get all the actors, and they're trying to get backing for it. And in fact, to get backing, they have to get this old woman to give them money, but her favorite her favorite actor is Alan Rickman, so they have to basically, you know, assure her that Alan Rickman will be there and that she'll get to meet Alan Rickman. But of course, Alan Rickman's dead, but she's a little bit old and doesn't know that he's dead. So they have to cast somebody to pretend to be Alan Rickman. That's probably for me the best subplot in the whole movie. There's some other subplots as far as the different actors and the the director's girlfriend is in the crew, but she's starting to get interested in another guy. There's a lot of stuff like that. There's a terrible suit, and like how are they going to get the suit to work for Bigfoot? And all of this sounds like it'd be really, really, really funny and a great kind of a premise for lots of humor. And then there's also a whole thing where they finally get to the cabin where they're going to film it, which is it's not very spooky cabin. It's just kind of like a regular old like B&B cabin you'd get, up in the Sierra Nevada mountains somewhere probably. And they go down to the basement for something and there's an extra room down there and it kind of is indicated that, oh, they might have uncovered something actually evil so there may be an actual supernatural true thing happening behind the scenes. So an extra whole layer of this, like up on the mockumentary level, there's this, but then behind it, there might be an actual horror movie happening that we don't even know about. They're I guess, unintentionally filming. So how does it work? It sounds like a great, great potential here. And I say, I mean, it's scruffy and around, rough around the edges. It's a very low budget. The problem is there have been some really great low budget movies that kind of have been in this sphere in the last 10 years. Like I said, One Cut of the Dead would be like probably the top of the mountain of that. The other one is oh shoot, I can't get the name exactly in my head. It was the oh my gosh, I can't remember it. It's the Japanese movie where they keep filming ahead. It could see ahead in time, like just another 30 seconds or a minute or whatever it was, and 5 minutes into the future. I forget what it was called, but it was really, really inventive and cool. This movie is not near as inventive or as, I guess, experimental in that sense. It's a little more straightforward. And it has a really great heart, and I really appreciate the scruffy spirit of it, but it just wasn't very funny. It was funny enough. There's something that funny. Like I said, some of the stuff, that Rickman stuff, that was kind of funny. And there was definitely some moments, some stuff with the suit, and there's you could just see that with a little bit more, I don't know, not a budget necessarily. You don't need the budget for this movie. I think just a little better script or something that would have been funnier or scarier. Because like then when it wants to actually be scary, that's all stuff I've kind of seen before. But all that being said, I had a good enough time with it. I don't want to just trash it. It's not, I wouldn't say like, oh my gosh, don't go out and watch it. But I would say have very tempered expectations. Once again, this isn't a movie I would probably run out and see in the theater. I don't think it needs that. It doesn't have a really, cinematic scope to it. But if it was on a streamer like a Shudder or something, yeah, give it a try. If you're in the mood for that kind of light, kind of making fun of found footage shows and movies. If you like those kind of movies, this might kind of give you a little more to watch as well. I guess I'll go 3 stars. I think that's a pretty generous 3 stars. I could see myself going lower, but this has all the right intentions, and it's, like I said, super low budget, and I could see them really kind of trying to step out of the box a little bit with what they had and with the resources they had. So doing the best they could with that. I mean, I guess you don't want to rate movies based on what what they were going for, right? But I would say I had an okay time watching it, so good enough to give it 3 stars, I guess. Once again, it's a pretty mild recommend. 3 stars for the mockumentary found footage, the making of the Patterson Project.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel, like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.